Welcome to another edition of the Pacers Pride Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Emerson. Alongside me, my co-host, as always, Dylan Deanhart.
Yo.
And we have some special guests today joining us. We have Tony and Adam from Locked On Pacers Podcast. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing really well. I don't like the All-Star Weekend as much as other people, so I'm excited to talk about actual basketball.
Yeah, I find it kind of boring, to be honest. We have now 9 days off from basketball, which is just boring. I mean, it just ruins kind of the weekends.
Yeah,
it's not that fun.
I know Dylan and I both like watching basketball in general, and just to not have the Pacers play for a while is kind of disappointing and disheartening. But unfortunately, we still have to wait till Friday.
Yeah.
This week until we get some action.
So it's funny because like in years past, after the All-Star break, it was just trade rumors because the trade deadline was after the game.
Yeah.
But now the trade deadline's over, so I don't know what is going to happen the rest of the week.
I kind of miss the trade deadline being during the All-Star break.
I know. That Boogie trade last year was like the funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
It happened during an interview.
Well, we are going to definitely get into some All-Star talk here later, but as we do every week, we're going to recap the
Weeks
2 games?
Prior games, yep.
Yeah, the 2 games that the Pacers had before the All-Star break. Last Sunday, the Pacers played the Knicks, and it was a close game overall, but the Pacers ended up pulling away and winning 121-113. Obviously, leading scorer for the Pacers. Who else but our All-Star, Victor Oladipo, who put in his typical 30-point game, because that's just what Vic does nowadays. So the Pacers overall just played a really good game and got the win against the Knicks. Guys, Adam and Tony, we'll start with you first since you're our guest here. It was good to get a win against the Knicks, obviously, but a 121-113 is kind of a close game, don't you think?
Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, sorry. We got to figure this out. We'll figure it out.
It's all good.
I think the score was closer than the game actually ended up feeling like most of the way. I mean, it felt like it was never really in worry the Pacers were going to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they didn't shoot that well. That's why it kind of hung around. I mean, they shot a ton, but they only I think they were just barely – they're at 50% exactly. Like they were around that. But it was the game where Corey Joseph sort of was like afraid to shoot too. Mm-hmm. It was kind of an odd game, but overall, I don't think there was ever a time where I was thinking during it, oh, the Knicks are going to win this game. It was more like, why can't they stop being his cannon for a second, or why is Beasley getting the rim so easily at times? But overall, I mean, the Pacers probably played like they did against the Knicks last time when they beat them significantly last time they played them at home.
Yep.
Yeah, and his cancer was my observation too, because when he was on the court in the first quarter, the Pacers had no answer for his rebounding and interior scoring. When he came off in the second, they took back over the lead, and then in the third, when he came out, they were up like 18 all of a sudden. So he was the guy that they had to worry about. But it didn't ever feel, like Adam said, it didn't ever feel as close as the score was, and especially in the third quarter when they finally took over and took it away. I didn't have a doubt that they were going to lose.
Yeah. Especially with no Kristaps, because if the Pacers lost this game with the Knicks not having Kristaps, I don't know what I would have done. Because, last time we were talking about the Knicks game, I think
last week?
Yeah, not last week, but the last time we played the Knicks, we were like, we'll just roll to an easy victory. And then Kristaps ended up dropping 40 and just single-handedly willing the Knicks to that win. But unfortunately, no Kristaps this time since he tore his ACL. Hoping for a speedy recovery for him. One thing I noticed looking at the box score, and I don't get what's coach of the Knicks. I can't remember what his name is.
Still Hornacek?
Yeah, Jeff Hornacek.
Jeff Hornacek.
Yeah, Jarrett Jack, their starting point guard, played 8 minutes. I don't understand
Unless
why.
he got injured.
What?
Unless he got injured.
I'm not 100% sure if he did or not, but you're looking at the bench. Obviously, they traded for Emmanuel Mudiay, who played 29 minutes, and then Frank Ntilikina, their rookie, who they think highly of, played 31 minutes. So I don't get why you would even play Jarrett Jack, but I don't know. That's why I'm not a coach in the NBA. So, although we did good, the Pacers did a very good job of holding Tim Hardaway in check. 3 of 10 from 3, because we know he can light it up anytime, anywhere. The Knicks shot 9 of 35 overall from 3. That's about 26%-ish. And the Pacers shot 12 of 28. So that's right around 43%, right around where you like to see the Pacers shooting. Another stellar game for Bojan. Adam and Tony, just recapping you of what our fans. I'm gonna get into it because we had. I'm not gonna mention names or anything, but I was trying to talk with a guy and one of our fans who called Bojan a embarrassment to the sport of basketball. So yeah, and
yeah, Tony's on this Bojan hill. I'll let him just answer this question. I didn't mean to groan, but if you listen to our show, Tony loves Bojan. I just groan when he talks about it.
But
he's the best player on the team, Adam. I will take no other answer.
I mean, no, the heck with Oladipo, the heck with Miles Turner. I mean, it's Bojan's show. He's running
Next
it.
question.
But Bojan had another good game. 4 of 7, 20 points total. Really helping out Vic. And how about Thad Young? Just another good game for Thad. 18 and 11 rebounds. You really don't see Thad really getting into double figures with rebounding, so kind of nice to see him helping out.
Second straight game he's gotten double figures, isn't it?
I don't know.
I thought he got double-digit boards last time, too.
I mean, but he's definitely been helping Miles crash the boards, which is what we've needed, I think, especially because when you got a guy out there like Enes Kanter who just can crash the boards and get rebound after rebound after rebound, you're going to need guys to help box him out and stuff like that.
Gang rebound.
Yeah, just gang rebound as a team, and trying to look at the overall, Pacers had 54 rebounds and I believe 45 for the Knicks, so always like to win the rebounding battle. Always good to see. Then our boy Lance had 15. Always have to mention Lance. I mean, if you don't go a game without mentioning Lance Stevenson, I don't know what you're doing.
Lance. That was another contention on our show. You have to mention Lance. Lance had a pretty decent game, if I remember right. Yeah, it was a 15-point game. I mean, Lance was good.
Yeah,
really
we
my
got good
biggest
Lance for
takeaway
that
from
night.
This game, I know we're trying to hit every player, and Lance did play well. I can't take that from him, but my big takeaway was that every single player was a positive and plus minus. That's so rare. That never happens.
Dylan, I know you can't see him, but he's just raising his hands up here.
I love people who recognize plus or minus. I just that my go-to stat.
It's I know it's like a flawed stat, especially on a game-by-game basis, but it does tell a good story of like what lineups did well and what didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like all I really like to use it for. But in this game, everyone was a plus. Like it just shows that the meshing of every player actually worked really well. Even Al Jefferson, who only played 10 minutes, was a +5. So you got to hand it to everybody in this one.
You just became Dylan's best friend.
Yeah, if you look at it too, most of the time in close games, you don't ever get everybody positive plus minus. If you win by 30 points, it's easy for everybody to be a plus something because you win by so much. But in a game you win by 8, everybody to be a positive, like Tony was saying, really makes the lineup.
Yeah, I'm gonna preach on one more player here before we move on. I'm a huge fan of Joe Young, and I like what he's been doing, especially with Collison on the bench, or not Collison on the bench, excuse me.
Collison injured.
Yeah, he's been hurt, which hopefully we'll get him back after the All-Star break. I think that's what I've been hearing. 11 points, 5 of 9. I mean, just getting his feet wet is good for him because I think can be a good player. I'm not sure where he fits as of right now with our point guard situation. But good to see him play 31 minutes. Corey Joseph only played 21, so Nate McMillan felt like Joe Young could maybe do some stuff against the Knicks, and he finished with a good night of 11 points. But yeah, overall, great win for the Pacers, and they just continue to win at home. That's been trying to tell Dylan here. I know money's tight. I understand that.
I'm a college student. I can't afford to go to
Hey,
Pacers Live.
I've been to a couple games. I've been splurging my paycheck. I mean,
there's a difference. You have a paycheck. I don't. So.
Hey, you're working with football now, so.
That pays minimum wage.
I mean, I'm barely making like $7.55 an hour.
Yeah.
That's not much. So, all right. Well, we could talk about our money all day, but we're gonna move on to the last game that the Pacers played before the All-Star break, and that was against the Brooklyn Nets. They won 108-103. This game, I'm gonna be quite honest. I was looking at the score. We had our good friend Cody, not Cody, but Ian. We've been associated with so many people from Indiana sports coverage. But Ian was live tweeting the game for us, and I saw overall that the score was a heck of a lot closer than it should have been, especially they're out after the first quarter, they were up 23-22. Then they scored 30. Then outscored us by, I believe, 6 in the third quarter. And that's when I really started to get worried a little bit because, it's the Brooklyn Nets. I understand they play us tough. They took us to overtime that one time. But overall, Tony and Adam, we'll start with you guys again. Impressions of this Brooklyn game right before the break.
Yeah, well, with the All-Star break so close, all these games kind of are like second semester of your senior year of high school and college, right? You're like, you don't care anymore. You're just looking ahead to the end, and you're just hanging in there. And you could kind of like they played fine. They were moving the ball okay, but the shots weren't falling, and they were kind of lackadaisical with their cutting and their closeouts and things that that good teams do every single game. And you could really tell that they were like, all right, let's just get this over with, not let's play a game. And the opposite of the Knicks game, like I just talked about, their bench was actually negative for a majority of this game. And it's not that the Nets have like a stellar bench. It's just that, they have a lot of high energy young guys. So if you come out not giving your 100%, they're gonna put you in a coffin. But the biggest takeaway of this game is always gonna be Al Jefferson.
Can we just talk about the
resurgence?
The resurgence too, but how he just took Jared Allen to school on those two post move plays.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Adam and Tony, you guys can probably talk about it a little bit too. I wasn't able to watch the game, unfortunately. I believe I was at the basketball game. Was this Friday? No, it wasn't. I don't know what I was doing. I think I was working or something. But Big Al Jefferson just with the cagey, I'm going to pump fake it, stick it right up in the air, and Jared Allen bit so hard, and he blew past him for a dunk. It was beautiful to watch. And then also, I think he did it one more time and blew past him for another dunk.
Yeah.
Big Al in 8 minutes, 13 points, and 6 of 7 from the field. Just, I don't see how he's. I don't know what plus minus all
it's defensive
adds up
end.
to.
I assumed he gave up some layups on the defensive end. That's what attributed to the negative. But
who knows? Yeah.
He still was a negative on the court, even though he had. I mean, the only way for him to be a positive is the way he played is to shoot 6 of 7. But he was still a negative. But Tony and I have kind of gone back and forth on Al Jefferson. Tony talked to him a little bit at one of the media days and gave me some quotes for something I wrote earlier this year. And it's just interesting to hear him talk because he sort of knows his role isn't to play that much, but it's sort of if he does, he has to be able to basically go 6 of 7 to be at all somewhat effective. And so the fact that he was at least able to do that, but you've seen some of him pull some of those like old man post moves. We saw him doing against Embiid earlier this year. I mean, he sort of pulls out these moves that a lot of the young centers never really see. And so that's why I think he's able to be effective.
Yeah, we always know that. I think he, in his prime in Utah and even in Charlotte a little bit before we got him, he was always that low post threat. And obviously with the evolution of the big man, he doesn't seem to be affecting him much because he's just taken these young centers to school down in the low post. And I like what you said about that because he knows his role. I think he got an interview. I remember seeing a quote from him on this interview, which he knows his role, obviously, as you mentioned. But when Miles or Sabonis get in foul trouble, which kind of happens a lot, especially with Miles. But
it happened in this game. Turner had 4 fouls. And,
yeah.
Turner played almost 30 minutes, but he was wobbly all the time between that and the first half at least.
Yeah, but it's good to see him. I've been telling Dylan ever since I apologized to Big Al Jefferson because the first part of the year, I was saying we should maybe look to cut him, maybe look to trade him because I wanted to see this roster get younger, but we always need that veteran on the team so who can step up and lead these young guys. I remember at the the Maccabi Haifa preseason game we went to and the game I went to, he's always working, I think, with either Turner or even with Ike. He just down low on the post trying to teach him some moves. So
I think we can see it really coming out in Sabonis. I feel like you see him a lot in like low post situations. Sabonis is kind of pulling out some of his Al Jefferson's bag of tricks in the low post, and it's like with the one that's coming to mind is that spin move on LeBron James when we played the Cavs at home, and he spun him out of the arena for a dunk. So I think it's helping Sabonis the most.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, always good to have a veteran on the team, especially. especially when I think that's where a majority of Sabonis' game is. Obviously, he has a little bit of a mid-range game, but I don't think we saw it at all last year, obviously, in OKC,
Yeah,
because it was basically Russell Westbrook was telling everyone, stay on the three-point line, and if I don't see a good shot, I'll pass it out to you, and you shoot the three. But we know what Sabonis can do, obviously, with a mid-range and in the post, so good to see just Big Al teaching these young guys.
Sabonis is the most, on at least the Pacers of the two centers, Turner, he's the most like Jefferson. You know, he's different in a lot of different ways, too, because he's not as, you know, bulky as Jefferson is. He can stretch out a little bit, but that's just part of being a modern-day center. But I think the thing with Turner is he needs to develop that post game. I think that's why Jefferson is honestly still on this team and wasn't traded, because I'm not sure what Jefferson's option date is, but I think it's later in the offseason. Tony can speak better than that because he knows all this contract stuff. But the idea is hopefully this offseason they can get Jefferson to work with Turner a little bit so they can put on – to get work on some of the postings, because if Turner can develop anything like half the post game that Sabonis has, Turner all of a sudden becomes like a completely different, more dynamic, more lethal player. But with Sabonis, it's just you can see a little Sabonis' dad in him. You can see Jefferson. I mean, he's definitely gotten a lot of experience in coaching on how to play down low, and it's good to see the Pacers actually run things for him versus like OKC last year, where it was like he was playing some hybrid power forward, stretch four, where he had absolutely no ability to do any of the down low stuff when needed to.
Yeah, I definitely think that's what I've been saying about Miles, and I think if any Pacers fan truly knows that if Miles can develop a post game, even what you were mentioning, Adam, just even half of what gosh darn it, Al Jefferson can do, then he could be, I think, really, really dangerous, because that means he could play. He has a mid-range game. He has the three-point game. Obviously, he's an elite rim protector. So if he can develop that post game, I think that just would set him over the top. I'm not putting him as top 5 centers like with Embiid and with Whiteside and people like that, like Karl Anthony Towns. I'm not going to put him up there, obviously, but I think he can slowly work his way to becoming, if he develops that post game and an all-around better player, I definitely could see a couple of all-star games and Miles Turner's future.
When I was at top, he loved EK just because he's like, man, if I had that body when I was 18 years old, like I'd be so much better right now, just because he loves how athletic and like ripped he is already, and he has the defensive acumen that a lot of guys his age don't have. So I was really excited about EK, even though EK has literally no post game his whole basketball career. He's just been kind of a rim runner, lob guy. So, you know, when you talked about him earlier, I thought that was really interesting because, you know, maybe he does get a post game from Allen. I would love that. But I think that they're totally different players, and it's really interesting to see how they communicate at practice.
Yeah, I just love, as I mentioned before, shoot around, he'd be working with him.
Question when you're ready.
No, okay, go right ahead.
Do we see more of a rotation second part of the season, like with Ben Moore, TJ Leaf, EK?
Oh, absolutely not. No chance.
No.
I mean, if they were like out of the playoff race, you might see more guys get minutes. But
yeah.
No, there's no way they're going to shake it up now. They need these guys to play. They believe in themselves enough to think they have a shot, so they're going to play the same 8 or 9 guys they've been playing all year.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, and this team wants to win 50 games, maybe. I mean, I think that's mega unrealistic, but they feel like they are as good as any team that's probably not the Cavs, and they might even talk themselves to being as good as the Cavs because they beat them 3 times this year. I don't know if that's actually true, but I think the guys in this team have sort of this confidence and this sort of belief in each other that, you know, is rare. And so I think you're not going to see any of the young guys kind of screw with that. That they're not going to. The only guy they're going to bring in is Glenn Robinson, and he's hopefully going to seamlessly fit into everything.
Yeah, I remember we were talking, I think it was last week when GR eventually comes back after the All-Star break. I think that's going to solidify that bench even more. I love GR, but I think he's maybe a year away from being a starter. I think he can be a starter next season. I remember you...
It depends. I think I said that GR maybe takes Bojan's spot. It just depends. If he does, it's going to be closer to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But it's all about how he performs and how Bojan performs. So
yeah, I think if you
Bojan's
keep...
been killing it recently, too. Bojan's been great recently.
Yeah, I think you keep Bojan on the floor. He's had a stellar month of February. Obviously, helping himself from that awful January month he had. But, yeah, when GR comes back, I think that bench of Corey Joseph, Lance, GR, Sabonis, and maybe TJ if he gets healthy. I don't know if we'll go with that 4-man rotation or 5. I don't know if we'll see TJ maybe, but I think that becomes a deadly bench because you obviously if Lance is hot that night, then we'll see. Hopefully we'll see the good GR before the injury. Don't know how bad this is going to affect him. Hopefully I think you just have to throw him in there, get his feet wet, and we'll see what he does. But, well, we recapped the Knicks and Nets game. We're going to preview the only game the Pacers have this week, and that's Friday after their first game back from the All-Star break, as they will does it play?
At home against Atlanta.
At home. I didn't know if it was on the road against Atlanta or not. Once again, the Pacers need to hopefully get up for this game. Need to say the All-Star breaks in the past. It was a nice rest. But they need to be ready to play for the second half because I know the Hawks, you look at the record, it's 18-41, and they're 5-24 away. But still, anything can happen on any given night. We see what's happened in the NBA. But I think the Pacers, especially since they're at home, they take care of business. Really don't see a huge threat on the Hawks at all, really. But we'll see. I'm fully expecting, I would hope a double-digit victory. Dylan, are you predict? You better be predicting a victory.
I mean, I assume a win. I mean, this is a good key 3-game stretch out of the All-Star break to get your confidence back up before the competition starts to ramp up, especially in March. But these 3 games are huge just for momentum's sake. So
yeah. Adam, Tony, I'm predicting a win, hopefully, against the Hawks on Friday.
I would guess. I mean, thing is, Mike Budenholzer is a really good head coach. And
yes.
So, given the way that they call it Hawks University, right, with all these young wings that happen to just become good players in the Hawks because they have such a good training staff, coaching staff, and all that. And, because they have guys that are learning to play, like they have – I feel like they're a higher variance team. Like they can be really hot one day and just be solid. Like I don't even know how they have 18 wins. Their best player is Dennis Schroeder. Like Dennis Schroeder's not that good of a basketball player. So the fact that they have 18 wins is already impressive to me. So, there's the high variance chance that they play really well and then they're harder to beat. But even at their highest variance, they're not that good. So, I don't think this will be that hard of a win. I mean, you already saw them win in Atlanta after they got demoralized on the Terror Rozier play. So,
yeah.
I know they're better than the Hawks.
So Tony doesn't call it the Bojan play because I want to insult Bojan. But no, Pacers are lucky the fact that they get such an easy schedule to come out of the break. It's going to help them because, you're – just naturally, because Debo is going to have basically worked the entire weekend because he'll done contests, of course, on a Sunday last night, and then he'll play in the night's game. But, it'll be nice. They'll be able to kind of ease back into the schedule, and hopefully they'll win the 3 games they need because they're 3 games, 2 of the bottom feeders in the NBA.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be able to ease into it because, like I said, if this team really wants to get to 50 wins or wants to be a top 4 seed, they're going to have to go like 15 and 9 down the rest of the stretch, something like that, something really, really ridiculous. But they could do it, so it's good to kind of get an easy start to it.
Yeah, obviously playing the Hawks twice, and then in between they play Dallas, which the last time we played Dallas, I mean, we all thought a win, but Dallas squeaked out a victory, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There was no Vic, though, so that also helps.
Yeah, very true. We'll have Vic back.
Stevenson in closing game does not work for this team.
Yeah.
At least in that position, and where he has to score, Lance is a poor man version of Vic on the end of game isolation play.
Yeah. All right, well, that's all the games that the Pacers have, and that's all we're going to preview, and that's all we're going to recap because Pacers, as we said, are in the middle of the All-Star break. They don't play much. So we're going to get into some All-Star talk now. Starting, I guess we can start with the
Rising Stars?
Yeah, the Rising Stars game, and what a performance Sabonis had. That's basically the only reason I was watching it. I had no interest in, Team World versus Team USA. I didn't care who won, obviously, since it's an exhibition game. But Sabonis showed out, I think. He had 13 points, I believe 6 of 6 from the field. What was it, 11 rebounds, I want to say?
I'm pulling up the
something
stats.
like that.
I
tweeted out that he could, arguably, if it wasn't for Bogdan, I'm just going absolutely crazy from 3. You can make an argument for Sabonis as MVP. Obviously, he didn't he didn't do all the flashy stuff because he doesn't have much of a 3-point game, obviously. But Tony and Adam, start with you guys. Reaction from what you thought Sabonis and how well he played in the Rising Stars game.
I like you guys didn't have a ton of expectations for the game. It's just like it's an exhibition, and like with all of All-Star Weekend, there's no defense or anything like that. So you kind of have to take these stats as empty stats. But
Yeah.
he didn't miss a shot, so that's something. And a double-double, I think he had the only double-double. I swear I read that it was the only double-double in Rising Stars game history, but it might have just been in that game.
I think Ben Simmons had a
I don't want to say that
double-double
if I don't
too.
know for sure, but hitting the glass in an exhibition game is really funny. It's like, why are you giving that much effort into such a meaningless task? But I loved it. In 13-11, didn't miss a shot. So I like that he, was putting Lithuania on the map and giving his all and showing out for the Pacers. I loved seeing Vic somehow finding his jersey. All that.
Yeah,
all that cute Pacers teammate stuff. But all in all, he played fine in an exhibition game. It is what it is. He didn't look bad, which is all that I really care about because now everyone has a better impression of him that doesn't watch him so much.
Yeah, and he didn't get hurt. That's also a big one.
Yes,
that was the biggest this whole weekend. Is no Pacer player can get hurt. Nobody gets hurt, that's a win no matter what happens. But you watch Sabonis, he's kind of odd to be in sort of these All-Star games because he's not like a flashy player. He's the download kind of be in the trenches, fight his way through, fight his way for 15 rebound kind of guy. So him in this type of game, which is odd to watch because like he's not a guy that said, give me the ball, I'm going to shoot right away. He just sort of like he kind of finds his shots in the flow of a game. So like him getting 11 rebounds is just kind of like it's a very I think it's a bonus thing for him to do, just to be a guy that's like I don't care about scoring. I just want to just keep trying to push the pace or whatever it was. It's just a very bonus thing to do.
Yeah, and I also tweeted, I think he was the only person even showing a little bit of effort on the night because it seemed like everyone was like, oh, you can go. I understand it's an exhibition game, and you're probably not
at one point it turned into a dunk contest between Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum, and
Jalen Brown.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, but
the legs thing was awesome.
It seemed like he was
really
the only.
awesome.
Go ahead, Adam. Sorry, or Tone.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I'm not the best with names, but
no, just the between line thing was sick by Jalen Brown. That's all I wanted to say.
okay. But yeah, I was watching it. He was the only real person that was even seemed like kind of trying. Maybe I don't know because I understand it's an exhibition. You don't want to go all out and try and get hurt, but he was up there contesting shots. Seemed like and just I don't know, showing really good effort and when no one else really was. Although I will say, I agree with you guys. I'm glad no one got hurt out of this because we know the injury history with Team LeBron.
Yeah.
So with losing Kristaps, losing John Wall, Kevin Love,
DeMarcus Cousins.
DeMarcus Cousins. So I remember people were saying, pray for Oladipo tweets and stuff like that because praying that he doesn't get hurt or anything. And thank God he didn't. Well, there's still one more event to go tonight. And, knock on wood. But yeah, thank you, I appreciate it. And we have a wooden door there that we're not gonna knock on over there. But yeah, Sabonis I think played well. Obviously, when Bogdan goes like 27 points and nearly hitting it from half court, he's gonna probably get the MVP. I think he finished for like 27, I want to say. But overall, it was a good showing for Sabonis, and this is a really good showing for the Pacers overall. Gonna move on to probably a topic that, Dylan and I, we agree on, and I think you guys probably will too, the dunk contest. The participants, when on paper it looked like this could compete with, like, the Aaron Gordon,
Zach LaVine.
Zach LaVine dunk contest, when you have so many athletic guys, but specifically, we can talk about Oladipo first, then we can get into the overall dunk contest. Oladipo, I love on his first dunk what he was trying to do, and it sucked that he didn't make it. I think it was, I can't remember what he was trying to do actually, but
wasn't it like a reverse windmill?
Something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he missed on all three attempts, unfortunately, and only got a score of like a 31 from the judges. Speaking of the judges, why the heck is like Mark
DJ Khaled, Mark Wahlberg, Chris Rock, Lisa Leslie?
She at least knows basketball.
Last one.
She at least knows basketball,
Yeah.
and she can dunk. She's like 6'5".
Yeah.
In the WNBA, so.
And then, what was it?
Dr. J.
Dr. J. The only one who should have been in there, in my opinion.
Dr. J, I feel like, is probably the only person qualified to
And they even said during the broadcast, everyone was just looking down at Dr. J and then just giving their score accordingly.
So, I mean, Adam and Tony, do you guys have any opinions on the judges, or were...
Yeah, when they were introducing those 5 people, I didn't have my sound on my TV, and so I was kind of like trying to figure out what they were doing, and I'm like, oh, those are the 5 judges, and that just kind of dumbfounded me. I mean, like I said, it made sense. Lisa Leslie and Dr. J, fine. Those made sense. At least they played basketball. Mark Wahlberg, I couldn't tell you why he was on there.
I can't.
Honestly, couldn't. You can tell me why he was on there?
I can tell you why all of them were on there because.
Well, they're celebrities. That's why.
That's why. That too. Now people who like movies are watching instead of just basketball fans. Well, the whole All-Star Weekend is like a fan event, right? It's not for like actual good basketball. So the whole point is like, okay, let's just like here are 5 fans judging these dunks, like not people who watch basketball all the time. So it's like, no, if it's like someone who never watched basketball judged it, what would they think of that dunk? I kind of like that because more people tune into the dunk contest than any given NBA game.
No, but they should probably do some kind of like live fan vote then instead of bringing on like a more that would be cool. Like if you could like I know there's like I'm kind of thinking like what was it, American Idol early season where you could text in like who to vote for. Like that would be kind of cool at least.
My mom calling in and voting for Clay Aiken on season 2.
Or we all voted. I forget his name, Sinjai. Everybody rigged it for him to get to the Sweet 16. Yeah, like that's how the All-Star dunk contest should be. I mean, I get it. You want to have some judge for some part of the vote, but like the normal All-Star game, it's like I think it's a quarter media, quarter players, half fans, or some combination of that. That's how it should be for the dunk contest because that's mainly what it's for is the fans. Maybe have people in the stadium vote, like give them all clickers. I don't know, something like that.
Clickers, like are we in class now? Like
like clickers.
Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where you can vote. That type of thing. I don't know, something like that. Just
no, I'm really actually in full
DJ
agreement.
Khaled, who gave basically everybody a 10, keep voting. I get it. He probably watched basketball. I'm not saying he's not, but like. It's so hard to judge these guys because they're all doing cool dunks.
I'm going to take this a step farther because I know we're going to get to scoring if we're talking about judges later, but like I think the expectations for the dunk contest are too high because I thought all the dunks were sick, and everyone on Twitter is like, "Oh, that was so lame and tame." I was like, "What?" Like Larry Nance just dunked from behind the basket, like he was fading away from the rim when he dunked. That's insane, and everyone's like, "Oh, that was stupid." I don't know what the expectation is for the dunk contest. Like Blake Griffin jumping over a car, I think kind of ruined it because now everybody expects everything to be like unbelievable and so sick. But I don't know. I loved all of them. I had a lot of fun with it.
I will say though that I think Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine, they obviously set a huge bar, obviously with their dunk contest 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Then last year, obviously, I'm happy with GR winning. Good to see him win, but obviously we all know it was not a good dunk contest at all.
I will say that that like thing that they do on TNT after the playoff series in like May or June that they do like amateur dunkers like from the street dunkers. That is better than any dunk contest I've ever seen. Personally, what those amateur dunkers can do is insane. I beg you to like watch a YouTube video.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and
that's what I expect of the dunk contest, honestly.
I understand they're NBA players, but
yeah.
They also don't get. I mean, like they know how to dunk, but some of these guys are so naturally free. So they don't like work on their like crazy dunks all year long. I mean, they have to actually train to play basketball. That's most of their job. I mean, like most of them are just working on their jump shots and working on things like that. They don't actually just like go in a gym and spend 6 hours a day trying all different windmill and 360 dunks. So that's why it's also sometimes a little underwhelming because they're such freak athletes that they can kind of like almost give half effort or half try it and still look awesome at it.
I'm gonna disagree with you there, Adam. I think Larry Nance puts on his dad's jersey and does highlight dunks all day, every day.
But you think Donovan Mitchell puts on that
Vince Carter
jersey with the whatever color shorts they have, and just go out there and try the tomahawk dunk every practice without being laughed out the court?
I think when Donovan Mitchell practices basketball, he puts another hoop behind his hoop just to throw the ball off.
I mean, most of these guys probably decide they're going to join the contest, let's say a week or two in advance, and they spend 2 weeks just sort of working on 5 dunks, and that's kind of what they do. But they can't spend all their time because they're playing games, they're conditioning up, and all this. So they're spending maybe an hour a day for 2 weeks, and that's.
I don't even think Vic practiced the dunk. I think he just looked up that Black Panther was coming out around.
He was definitely paid to wear that. I almost think he was.
Perfect. I'm dressing as the Black Panther mask.
I think he was paid to wear that.
When he brought it out, when Vic brought out the Black Panther mask, I'm like, okay, here's.
I was expecting a lot more than just a pump fake in the midair or whatever.
Okay, well, he had one dunk in mind, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but it didn't. He missed on his first 2, I think so.
Then I also think that the dunk contest should have been longer, because it felt like it was just you get 2 dunks, and you had to have been your 2 best dunks to get to the final. And then they just kind of threw something together in the end.
Well, I mean, you can't have it be a half-hour spectacle.
The old format was, I think, better, where they had 4 dunks or whatever, and then the top scores of, I don't remember, but it used to be better. I forget the old format.
I will say, my personal dunk of the night goes to Larry Nance, because when he did that double tap off the backboard, and when I was watching it in real time, I was like, okay, that's not that creative, but obviously when they slow it down and you can see him throw it off the backboard, tap it off the backboard again, and then dunk it. That was personally the best dunk of the night for me.
Second to Dennis Smith's reverse between the legs slam that took him 3 tries.
My favorite was far and away Nance coming from behind the basket, because he was moving away from the rim when he dunked. That's insane.
I personally...
I couldn't do that on a Nerf hoop. That was not.
I mean, I still like the double tap better, personally. I thought
that and Donovan Mitchell, whoever that guy that Donovan Mitchell brought out for that alley-oop.
Kevin Hart?
No, the one that threw the pass off the backboard.
Oh,
they were saying who the heck was that guy even? That wasn't even an NBA player. That was just some
Donovan Mitchell threw the pass off the backboard.
No. Someone threw it off and then he. Caught it, tomahawked it over the 4 players.
He was related to that person. I forget who they said it was.
Oh.
So.
I can't remember. It shows you how much I remember from the dunk contest.
Yeah.
But obviously Donovan Mitchell won it. Huge props to him. But would have loved to see Vic. I would have loved to see, because I think Vic would have made the finals if he would have made that first dunk. Because that would have been a 50. If he wouldn't have gotten a 50, if he would have hit that. I mean, well, we've already talked about the judges, so they probably wouldn't have given him a 50. But overall, it was kind of disappointing, if you ask me, because all the hype leading up to it, and then I remember I got a notification on my phone this morning. Dennis Smith Jr. apparently takes this pretty personally.
Oh yeah, he was pissed.
Yeah, because I don't know if you guys saw this, Adam and Tony, but he ripped the scores apart because he was pissed off that he didn't get a higher score and stuff like that. So, I mean, dude, for one, it's an exhibition.
Well, I mean, it's not like the Mavs are going to the playoffs, so this is probably the only thing he cares about this year.
Yeah. Tell Dennis Smith to shoot better than 31% from 3.
Speaking of roast, to be quite
honest,
Spencer Dinwiddie, when he won the skills challenge, I remember Reggie Miller saying, "This is the best thing that's happened in the Nets all season."
Oh yeah. Did you see Joel Embiid cheat on the Rising Stars challenge?
I mean, really, Joel? Come on. I mean, he got beat anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, no Embiid slander. He is a savior of the league.
Oh my God.
If Dennis Smith won this, it would have been the day. It would have been basically a day of all the bad team players winning. Booker won the 3-point contest. Their team's got 18 wins. Dinwiddie's team's got 19, and if Smith won, they've got 17. So at least somebody on a good team or somebody good team.
Yeah,
this. But why is there a passing section in the skills talents? Like every player, like big men can't pass or dribble, or why are they doing the same things as guards? It's like, of course, that Spencer Dinwiddie's gonna beat Lauri Markkanen.
Well, the bigs have won the last 2 times in a row.
Yeah, they really have. So
I know, but it seems unfair. Like there should be like a you get doubled in the post section of it or something. And the guard has to figure it out.
The whole point is it comes down to that 3-point shot. I mean,
Which
No. I have a lot of opinions on the skills contest. It's so everyone who does a layup in the skills challenge is lame, right? Like the whole point is it's exciting. Why don't you do a layup? Just dunk it and run back, you loser. Like the whole time I was getting so frustrated at like Jamal Murray, like lackadaisically just flipping the ball up in the basket. I was like, come on, you chump! Like this is supposed to be exciting. Dunk the ball.
It also really just comes down to if they can make that first pass. If somebody hits the first pass, they win every time. I mean, it's every single time.
I'm also
I was cracking up at Lou Williams because Lou Williams, all he does when he gets the ball is shoot and score, and he missed the pass 3 times. I was like, no, hey.
I mean, they're not wrong.
I'm also really mad that they got rid of that the legend, the current NBA player, and the WNBA player, and there was like around the world shooting, and then they had to do a half court shot, and it was a time trial thing, and they got rid of that ever since like the Houston All-Star game.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it was like dominated by Chris Bosh, Alonzo Mourning, and then that chick from the WNBA team down in Miami. But
I know what you're talking about. I enjoyed watching that.
That was like my second favorite one.
I will say though, about the skills challenge, I don't know why Andre Drummond was like, yeah, I'll do it. Because he realized that he had to shoot a 3. Andre Drummond hasn't taken a 3 all season.
They said he hadn't even made a 3 all season.
I'm pretty sure he hasn't. I
think he's taken a 3.
Well, if you count like half-court shots and stuff like that, which I don't. But guys like Andre Drummond, I understand like, big men like Lauri Markkanen who can shoot, participating in it. But guys like Andre Drummond. I mean, if there was a rebounding competition or something, he would win.
Yeah,
but
him and Hassan Whiteside for long.
But just the fact that he's in a skills competition, I mean, I guess since he's invited, I mean, I would accept it too, probably. But overall, we recapped the skills competition, dunk contest.
You want to talk
3-point contest. I mean,
you talk about how Paul George disappointed.
Oh, that was hilarious, and how he got roasted on Twitter.
I will have no Paul George slander here.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I know, it's frustrating. Just let him do it.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't.
Hey guys, come! I won't do it. I'm not. You know what? Do your thing. I will walk around my room while you guys do this analysis.
I want to hear your take, honestly. Why do you give Paul George such credit? Because I don't personally.
Because he got the Pacers to the Eastern Conference Finals twice. Like he could have a bad 3-point contest, and we could not roast him on Twitter. Come on.
Why can't we roast him on Twitter anyways? Even like we all know he's good, but like we are allowed to roast players. I mean, we roast players for so much less.
No. We're allowed to roast players. We're not allowed to roast players and say, "Oh, such classic Pacers PG to miss threes on the big stage." Like, shut the hell up! Like, come on.
I mean, when is he at a game winner? Point to me to the game winner he's hit, and then I'll start making that joke.
Okay, the air ball. You can roast Paul George for the air ball. That was awful. But like,
yeah, I mean,
that was embarrassing. But like, come on, it's a contest exhibition. Like, it's not related to a game at all. Why are we pretending like you still? I don't know. I was so annoyed.
No, I
annoyed.
I understand.
I was cheering for Eric Gordon. I like Eric Gordon, so that's who I was cheering for.
I was rooting for Klay Thompson because he's the best form in the NBA.
No, I was rooting for Klay too.
Love good.
Yeah. But when credit to Devin Booker, he I believe set that new record, or
I
think it was a record
points,
that he set. Breaking Klay Thompson's. So who knows? But I just like roasting Paul because it's kind of funny. I mean, obviously he's a hell of a player. And we can't discredit. I mean, I think
even Reggie was roasting him on the broadcast. He said Russell Westbrook's now confident that he's going to return to OKC because he's bricking it in LA. So
I will.
That's a good one.
I will credit one page at the 8.9 seconds Pacers. I can't remember exactly what they said. I think it was PG building that LA house with all them bricks or something like that. So credit to them. That was hilarious.
That tweet was me, so thank you.
Oh, was it really?
I don't know who it was. It was either Tony or Ben Gibson. I guess Tony tweeted it.
Oh, well, that was hilarious. I'll give you credit, Tony. That was hilarious.
Me and Ben are social media connoisseurs, so I'll take my royalties right now.
Ben's really good at social media.
Yeah, Ben's a lot better than me.
You're okay, Tony. I'll give you some.
All right, well, I guess we can move on to predictions tonight for Vic. Obviously, he's probably, I don't know this. He's not going to start, I wouldn't think. But Tony and Adam, what do you think we're going to see from Vic tonight as far as terms of points or just dunks or stuff like that? How many points do you think he's going to get?
4.
4? Why?
I think
Because
he's
he
gonna
wears
play
the number
I think
4?
he's gonna play about 6 minutes.
I think we're gonna see a LeBron Vic some kind of combination dunk. I don't know who's gonna go to who, but it's, I think just because if you saw LeBron was clapping for Vic when he was doing his dance, and I feel like they're working on something. So I don't know how many points he'll get because it's just about. It's honestly just dumb luck how many points players get just basically they let shoot. Like when Paul George had 40 points just because everybody let him shoot because he was back after his injury. That was sort of like a pity thing. But I don't know. I don't know how many points they get, but I think there'll be some cool dunk with him on LeBron.
I think Vic drops 50.
I don't know if this competition is going to be like competitive this year with the whole team thing, and now there's money in stake. But
It's not going to be competitive.
No, nobody wants to get hurt. Somebody else is hurt now. Everybody's just trying to get out of this game, just have some fun, and nobody twist an ankle or fall on a hand the wrong way.
Isn't like they donate money to charity or something?
Yeah, the
like
winning
that
team
too.
gets I think $50,000, and the losing team gets $30,000 to the captain's charity. So to Steph's or LeBron's charity.
Well, what if the
I'm pretty
other
sure
people on
LeBron
that team?
makes $500,000 a week. So I don't think
What if the
just
people on
NBA salary?
What if people on LeBron's team don't like support LeBron's charity? They're like, screw you, we're gonna tank the game.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know I'm just rambling on here, but overall, I just think, let's see, we got All-Star. Oh, one last thing I want to get your thoughts on, guys, is the trade deadline. We talked about it last week on our show. And we both were in full agreement that it was good that the Pacers did not make a move. What were your thoughts on the Pacers' decision to, just stay pat at the trade deadline when there were rumors out there floating around about who we may acquire and stuff like that?
DeMar Carroll, etc.
Yeah. If I knew a list of every move that they could have made, I could give you a much better answer because we can all say speculation getting DeMar Carroll, for the right price, yeah, I love DeMar Carroll, or if we're really getting Kenneth Reed, okay, or for the right price, yeah, let's take Kenneth Reed. But
boom.
No, I don't want Kenneth Reed.
We don't know those offers, and that makes it hard for us to say truly how good their trade deadline was. In my head, I would have liked for them to maybe get a young player, an asset, using their cap space, and they didn't do that. But I think it's fine that they kept the team together. Given that they're so talented and they'll have the space in the summer, it's fine that they did what they did. And that was probably the best option they had. It's just it's so hard to analyze it because we don't actually know what the opportunity cost of what they did is.
Yeah.
If we think, I think Tony and I speculated on this on our show, was that the trade was probably Al Jefferson for Reed, and then you probably got a top 14 protected first-round pick. If Denver's really going to make the playoffs, I think that trade's going to look a little bit like you should have done it, because even though the pick would have been maybe, let's say, 16, you package the Pacers 16 and maybe their 20 pick, they could move up in the draft and go after somebody. I mean, I know the draft's about 8 players deep, so I'm not sure it really will make a difference, but how useful is Al Jefferson? He's we talk about, he does some stuff, but if you could get a guy in Fareed who at least might be a rotation player and he's kind of insurance against Glenn Robinson not being as good as he was, that may have been worth it. But besides that, I don't think they were going to trade any of their really core pieces. I think they can pay him a team that can compete.
Yeah, I remember. I can't remember who I read it. It may have been from Jeremiah Johnson on Twitter. But I remember Kevin Pritchard said that he had, I think, at least 6 Pacers players come up to him after the deadline and said, thank you for not making a move, because it just goes to show how well this team is bonding and gelling. And we've talked about it on the show plenty of times. No one in their right mind expected the Pacers to be where they are right now. If you would have told me the Pacers coming into the All-Star or after the All-Star break would be 5th in the Eastern Conference, I would have told, what are you smoking, what are you drinking, or something like that. Because I set my expectations really low for this season, to be quite honest, because I think everyone did. But to see this team just compete night in, night out, and have 33 wins already goes to show how well this team is playing right now. Obviously, huge credit to Vic, obviously, but overall, I think I'm glad they didn't make a move, because I think it would have just messed up kind of the chemistry that this team would have built. And if we would have traded away Al, I think we kind of lose that veteran presence. I know we have Thad, but I'm not 100%. I like Thad overall, but I'm not sold on him as kind of that vocal leader. But like Big Al is him, stuff like that. But that's just my thoughts. I know. Glad you brought up Kenneth Fareed, because Dylan over here.
I don't.
No.
No circumstance do I want Kenneth Freed. I just
Dylan
don't
does
think
not want Kenneth Freed on the team. I would have loved
But the
Kenneth
first round
Freed.
pick would have been nice.
that's the only thing that would have made it valuable in my opinion.
Yeah,
Because
you have
Kenneth
cap
Freed.
space. It's not like they don't have cap space, and the first round pick would have been a nice thing to have. I think just because if this team is looking at 3 years being competitive, getting as many young players in here for either to trade towards something or just to have. I mean, you can still even with like the James Harden trade 8 years ago or whatever, 6 years ago. You just collect a bunch of mid-teen first-round picks. You can make a move for a guy who's borderline star, could become a star kind of thing. And so I think that's kind of was their best ability because you're turning basically Jefferson, a guy you're going to cut in 4 months for something valuable.
Kenneth Freed doesn't suck either. Like,
no, he's just overpaid.
See?
Just overpaid.
yeah, and well, a lot of guys are in this environment, and that is what it is. And it would suck to have to pay him next year, but like he's not like a valueless. Like you could play him and not be like we're screwed at power forward because we don't have anybody. Like now you can play Kenneth Freed and Thad Young. Like there are worse options. I totally get why you wouldn't want Kenneth Freed, and I understand that. But I was like, if that trade was actually real, I was pretty heavily in favor of doing that.
Yeah, I was too, especially because, I mean, we talked about the rebounding issue earlier. I mean, that's basically what Kenneth Freed does, is he just hogs up rebounds. And why are you giving me that look? Come on.
I'm just saying.
No, go ahead.
In the NBA right now, you can't have anybody who's a liability on offense, which I feel like Kenneth Freed is. He doesn't really have that much of a low post game. He doesn't have an outside shot. All he can do really is rebound. And if you have a guy on offense that night in and night out it doesn't provide any kind of threat on the offense, it just becomes a 4-on-5, which makes it harder to run an offense through because Kenneth Freed is just he has to stay in the post because he can't really do anything outside of like 2 feet. So
yeah. I mean,
yeah, but part of that too with Fareed is he's really in a place where he doesn't want to be anymore. I mean, there's been quotes about he wants out of Denver like badly. I mean, they're barely playing him at time, I think, and he's like frustrated. So I don't know how much a new environment too would change. And the Pacers have a pretty good track history of sort of turning those type of like power forward, small forward kind of hybrid guys into something. You know, they did it with GR3, but they sort of can. They have a pretty good shooting coach on the roster, and they're able to reinvent guys later in their career to at least be something. I don't think he'd be worth $12 million, but I don't know how him joining the Pacers would change his sort of outlook, and maybe he'd be playing different, trying harder, just a whole different kind of guy.
I don't know. It's
I mean, especially they're not playing him with Paul Millsap being hurt too. You'd think he would slide into maybe that starting power forward slot for Denver, but who knows? I mean, that's obviously Mike Malone's decision. And we'll see where Kenneth Freed and all these maybe people end up. I'm kind of depressed that we talked about the Kemba Walker rumors, I think, a couple weeks ago. And obviously then Michael Jordan comes out and says, I'm not trading him unless we get an all-star in return. So obviously the Pacers didn't do that. But this offseason, it's going to be interesting to see what kind of moves the Pacers make. I remember reading a piece from Grant on ISC that said that the Pacers are, supposed to be like big players in the, I believe, restricted free agent market. Obviously keying in maybe on Aaron Gordon. Not 100% sure how he would fit in with the offense, but obviously with Thad, I think the Pacers should try and re-sign Thad this offseason because I think we've hopefully impressed him. Maybe. I don't know if he wants too much money or anything like that. He's on the tail end of his career, obviously. So I don't know if he's going to be wanting money, but if he wants to maybe win and get some money, we can probably offer him some, but who knows? There's plenty of stuff to talk about, obviously, as the second half of the season comes down and the Pacers are right in the thick of things in the East. They are currently, as we said earlier, I believe 5th in the East. I have the standings pulled up right here. Yeah, they're
somewhere between 4 and 6. They're like a game.
They're
half game
5th
back.
in the East.
It's a cluster between 7 and 4, basically.
Yeah, 5th in the East, a half game behind Washington, 2 back of Cleveland. So, I mean, the Pacers could, if everything works out in their favor, end up with a 3 seed. Obviously, you have Cleveland to deal with, who that revamped roster. The only time we'll get to see Cleveland in that revamped roster is if we meet in the playoffs, which that could happen. And I've said that I may take the Pacers, being a bit honest. or being a bit biased, not honest, but we'll see. There's plenty of stuff to talk about, and we may, Adam and Tony, may have to get on your guys' show and probably talk some more about this because it was definitely fun today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I had fun. Thank you for having us on.
Always love to talk ball, especially when me and Adam are taking our own kind of all-star break because we're obviously all-stars of the podcasting game. But
all right, that's not good.
No, really, we haven't recorded together for like 5 or 6 days, so it felt good to get back in the swing of things because we got to ramp it up this week again.
Yeah.
We Sorry, I was going to say we haven't recorded in a while, but we're glad to be on and start talking more Pacers. Good to get back in the flow.
No problem.
Look at this chemistry, too. Not one fight on the pod. Wow.
But, yeah, I'm sure we'd be willing to come on your guys' show if you ever need people would be happy to be on, depending, our busy college schedule, obviously. Yeah. But definitely enjoyed having you guys on, and hopefully we can maybe do some more work in the future, hopefully.
For sure. You know where to find us.
Yep. All right, well, thanks so much, guys, for being on. We really appreciate it. All right.
Yeah, you bet.
All right, take care, guys.
Yeah. Thanks.
Alrighty. Well, that was great having them on. Be sure to give them a follow on Twitter. Locked On Pacers. I believe that's it, right?
Yeah.
Just Locked On Pacers.
Mm-hmm.
We sent out a tweet tagging them in it, so just go ahead and give them a follow. They're really good guys, obviously, and really funny too. Yeah. So, but it was really good doing this show. Obviously, we're back in the swing of things. We'll be back talking. We'll actually have some games to talk about.
Second half regular season next year.
About next week. So, but until that time comes, just keep following us and like our page on Twitter. We're starting to gain some more followers, and just subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to watch some old episodes of us talking, and just that's basically all I have.
I challenge you to go find the origins of Victor Despacito. If you can find that, props to you.
Oh well, Dylan throwing out the gauntlet here on the show, but
it's not really that hard to find. But I mean,
we may see if we have any answers on our Twitter for next week. But we will tune into the All-Star game tonight. Watch Vic do his thing. Hopefully, he gets more than 4 points, is what they were projecting.
I said 11 last week. So.
I think he could end up with maybe like 15 or something like that. I don't know.
It depends on who gets the ball and obviously how the game plays. But
LeBron will probably just be chucking a bunch of threes. But
I don't know.
But until obviously next week when we'll be right back here talking more Pacers basketball, have a lot more games. We're only going to be probably recapping the Hawks game.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously, Ian from Indiana Sports Coverage will be live tweeting that for us because I will be at the basketball game, and
I could probably, if I need to. I could just do, he can do the score updates. I'll just do, my stupid takes on what's happening.
Stupid memes and stuff like that. I'm going to be at the basketball game because it's going to be on ESPN2.
I thought that was a Tuesday.
No, this Friday game is on ESPN2. We're getting some national recognition here in Ball State, something we never receive. So
it's kind of sad when national recognition is ESPN2.
But we're going to stop talking about our basketball team and get to, hopefully, as I said, tune into the All-Star game, watch Vic do his thing. We're going to be recapping that and the game against the Hawks next week, as well as previewing all the games that the Pacers have this following week. So, for Dalen Deanhart, I'm Cody Emerson. Have a great day, and go Pacers.